hey, I want to own a little piece of the Mona Lisa because I think it's going to go up in value. And people are doing this with baseball cards that are extremely valuable. When before the stock market, right? I would start a business and you would start a business and there was no stock market. And then one day somebody came along and said, "Hey, do you want to buy shares in my company?" And you're like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, "You can give me $1,000 and I will give you 10% of my business, and it's represented on this piece of paper." And most people at first would have been like, "What? Like, how is that gonna work? Why do I want this piece of paper? What value does it have?" And it's because the future. And then what I would explain is, well, the future value of my company is going to go up. So that $1,000 piece of paper will in the future be worth $2,000 if I keep going in this direction, if you believe in my company. And people eventually bought into this. And then you had a whole system built around it, which is called the stock market, right? And everybody understands how that works now. And it's very clear. And then what happened with this decentralization that's happening on in crypto and in other places is things like the best example I've heard is you can like the Mona Lisa. I can never go buy the Mona Lisa, but now whoever owns the Mona Lisa, I don't even know, but if they wanted to, they could create shares of that, and you could buy portions of it, and I could put $1,000 because hey, I want to own a little piece of the Mona Lisa because I think it's going to go up in value, and people are doing this with baseball cards that are extremely valuable, Pokemon cards, shoes, and so you have a stock market or some kind of way to trade and get pieces of different kinds of valuable things across multiple different platforms. And what you're saying, if I hear you correctly, is you want to bring that into dental to allow more money to flow in, where traditionally that money has no way to flow in.
Yeah, totally, exactly. And I think this could easily apply to other healthcare verticals as well. I think the great way you described it is kind of the stock market for healthcare, and I think it's good for fundraising purposes, like we discussed, but also potentially in the future, especially with tokenization. It doesn't have to be done on the blockchain; it can be done just digitally. But with tokenization, with these digital shares, you can also kind of create a secondary marketplace for trading. So you purchased some equity in the DSO that you work at, and you want to have some liquidity, you want to trade with someone else and kind of exit your position, you can do that in a platform like this. So it really is kind of opening up the world of investing to healthcare groups and starting with
Got it.
dentistry in
So
particular.
how big of a market is that? Like, how much money are we talking? Because a lot of times when we talk about this, like, it's like, okay, well, my grandma can put in $1,000, or what? Like, what's your thoughts is going to happen when you open this floodgate and say, hey, you can buy some shares or a portion of a DSO or this company that's inside the dental industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of demand. I think there's going to be a lot of demand, especially surprisingly from the institutional side. I believe that there's a lot of money on the sidelines that is kind of looking for a way to invest that's easy and frictionless and allows you to kind of have the due diligence of investing kind of done for you. We can do a lot of the analytics, kind
Mm-hmm.
of figure out if the deals are good, pre-vet the DSOs, and kind of offer really good opportunities to our investors. So I think we're probably going to have as far as minimum investment goes, probably somewhere north of $10,000 minimum, to put in. That is really flexible, but it just depends on the size of the deal. We want to run a couple of deals and make sure that there's a healthy appetite for it and that people are willing to invest in that way. But I think looking at other industries where people have kind of democratized investing through online platforms, such as real estate, they've opened the floodgates and there's been crazy demand for these platforms. So dental, we all know how, lucrative dental can
Like
be.
what? Give me an example. Like, what do you mean by that in real estate? Like,
Yeah.
what do you
So
mean?
they'll take big deals that a traditional, that you'll need a lot of money to get
Yeah.
into, and they'll kind of offer a platform where multiple investors online can come in and kind of syndicate on a deal. They all kind of pitch in,
Yep.
and then together collectively they'll raise that 1 or 2 million or whatever that number is that would be bigger than the sum of their parts. And they could also provide a lot of value to that group. All these investors, it's not just the money. It could also be the fact that they're strategic investors that I said before that now have like skin in the game and want to help the DSO scale because they've got some exposure in terms of equity.